This is Bloomberg ETFIQ. I'm Scarlett Fu along with Katie Greifeld.
And Eric Balchunas from Bloomberg Intelligence back with us now for today's drill down, where we focus on one ETF. Eric, what do you got?
Katie, today we're looking at the Democracy International Fund, which essentially is a international, right? So it's got about 85% developed international, 15% emerging markets. And it overweights countries or gives them a little more weight if they're democratic and sort of takes away weighting for countries that are authoritarian. So that's the general idea here. It's supposed to be just sort of like your international exposure, but with a democracy overlay. And let's look here. It's 50 basis points. Came out about 3 years ago. Assets 8 million. So still on the small side, but growing. Let's look at the holdings here by country. Now you're going to open it up. You're going to see it's going to look, like I said, this is going to look a lot like your international fund. But that's the point. You're trying to get beta or stick close to the beta for international and not veer off too much. And you can see some of the countries there. You're going to get a little extra overweight to Norway and New Zealand because of their democracies, and a little underweighting to China and Saudi Arabia.
All right, Eric, thank you. And joining us to talk about this ETF, I'm pleased to say we have Julie Kane. She is CEO over at Democracy Investments, joining us at the desk. And you point out in your notes, of course, we are just mono-focused on the U.S. election, 8 days, if you're counting. But more than 70 countries have had elections this year. That is a record number in 2024. And with that in mind, how frequently, how often are you shifting around your holdings in this fund?
So our process, we rebalance quarterly, but the big shifts come when The Economist publishes the new democracy index. And when those scores come out, we will adjust our tilts accordingly. And they've been measuring country democracy scores for almost 20 years with 60 different indicators, and 12 of those indicators are all around election integrity. So we are overweighted in countries that care about free and fair elections, care about security for voters and election workers, and care about a peaceful transition of power.
But also elections create uncertainty, and that uncertainty can last for a long time. Like we're seeing in Japan, for instance, which of course has seen the ruling coalition, the LDP, lose its majority, and we're kind of uncertain where things go from now. Yeah. Isn't the big Japan weighting at 16.5% now kind of a significant risk for the fund?
Well, we believe in democracy over the long run. You may have noticed that 3 economists just won the Nobel Prize with research around institutions that have election freedoms and rule of law outperform over the long run. We believe Japan will outperform over the long run, and this is a symbol of their democracy.
If you look, first of all, Perth Toll of the Freedom has a similar one, but it's just for emerging markets.
Yep.
And then iShares has this EMX China, which is like billions and billions of dollars. How do you go out and make your case against those two products in particular for this? It's the same kind of a play. I mean, ex-China is only one country, but it's similar. How do you make your case for investors who are in one of those funds?
I would say our strategies are complementary. You could own both. We don't screen any country out because what if they improve? When do you let them back in? So we have a very systematic tilting process that counts for geopolitical risk and the shifting supply chains that we're seeing.
And I mean, with that in mind, have you seen any companies, or not companies, countries in the last year or so that have made those significant gains, that have come up when it comes to their holdings in this fund?
Since we launched 3 years ago, I wouldn't say there have been any dramatic jumps. And sadly, the scores have been going down a little bit every year across the world. And that's what we're seeing this year as well. So
that's a state of commentary about how things are going in this world.
Taiwan has done well. You know, they just had a great election, and you know they're worried about security with China, and we're seeing national security issues with other countries as well. Finland, for example, just nominated their PM, who got Finland into NATO.
So my other question here is, given the international exposure, how do you manage currency risk? You look at the dollar, for instance, and it's been stuck in a range over the past 2 years, since late 2022. We know countries like China, which I know is not included in the fund, are actively trying to diversify away from dollar hegemony.
So we downweight China by 72%. We don't screen any country out. And because we're in 3,000 international securities, the diversification then takes care of most of that.
All right, Julie. It's always great to speak with you. Of course, a really fascinating way of approaching this issue. Great to have some time with you. That is Julie Kane of Democracy Investments.